For Robert Deleuze. That's a throw down, and referee Telis Asamanios wisely called that immediately.
Hey, give me the spit bucket.
Do whatever you want.
I'll do spit bucket.
Whatever you got to do.
I'll swallow a little bit.
You see action from round one. It was a pretty spirited opening round. Deleuze getting knocked into the ropes there. Stark at times was power punching. He took a big right hand there, and that's what we want to see. How does Gary Stark react when he gets hit flush?
He was open to right hands throughout that round. We saw him get hit even when he got driven into the ropes. He got hit on the way in with that right hand. So wild shots from Deleuze landing. Stark still won that round, don't you think, Steve?
Pretty close round there. I could call it either way.
Very interesting fight here, scheduled for 8. Gary Stark on the left from Brooklyn, and Bobby, as he calls himself, Deleuze, Providence, Rhode Island, former tough man.
And Bobby Deleuze's normal regular trainer is Peter Manfredo Sr., not here. He has a commitment in California. Always tough for a fighter to go on the road without his regular guy.
Yeah, I got to say one thing Deleuze is doing differently. He came out throwing the jab. And now Stark, not a heavy puncher, excellent counter puncher, but let's see a little bit more countering from him. He's been good at making the play and controlling, as we said, much of the distance and pace of this fight. But the one little thing he hasn't done so far there with 3 shots teeing off is when Deleuze throws, avoiding shots or catching them and countering.
What to keep in mind about Deleuze, yeah, he's lost almost as much as he's won, but 9 of his 10 wins have come by knockout.
Ah, good point. Stark probes to the body with that jab. Good idea. He's done that a lot. It's a good weapon to have. Wild shot from Deleuze, and Stark climbs all over him quickly. They keep turning. Good pace to this fight. A lot of movement. A lot of angles from both guys. Stark a little wide with the hook, but follow up straight right hand. Stark left and a right, then bangs to the body well. Back comes Deleuze with a right and then wraps Stark, who sticks his tongue out, but good body shot combinations from Deleuze, and now he's paying the price, getting hit flush with shots from Stark.
You talk about Stark sticking his tongue out. Normally, I don't like that, but to me, that's an indication that Gary Stark's beginning to have some fun in there. And knowing him, as we do, we've called most of his fights on Broadway Boxing. It's very important for him to have fun. That means he's loose. That means he'll defend himself better.
There's that left from Stark. He's not throwing the jab as much anymore. It's more a hook than right hand. There's the jab, doubling but missing. Deleuze, for a guy without a lot of real experience, hanging in very nicely and making this a very competitive fight. A good one. Now Deleuze elects to hang on, try to rough up a little bit. He'll bounce off, sink a left hook to the body. But they're punching in between, at least punching with Stark.
I see a difference in Deleuze from the first round. That he's much more defensive. He's backing up. He doesn't seem as willing to want to initiate the action.
Maybe he's getting hit flush and feeling it. And there at the tail end comes Stark. So Stark keeps punching. He punched first, punch last, and looking good here in the second.
Making me proud of you, bro. Making me proud of you.
Action from round 2. A much better round for Gary Stark. And part of the reason for that is that Deleuze was less aggressive. Stark made the play. And that left hook, a wild counter punch by Deleuze, sort of cuffed at the top of Gary Stark's head. That's his dad, Gary Sr.
Stay away from him.
Stark getting an earful from Gary Stark Sr. Very intense, his dad. Round 3 of a scheduled 8-rounder. And a good one so far. Junior featherweights, Gary Stark on the comeback trail. You know, every time he stepped up this year, he has failed, Steve. We saw him lose a questionable decision to Mike Oliver. February 7th, in fact, we called that fight. And then in May, that devastating one-punch KO loss to Andres Ledesma.
That Oliver fight, I don't know anybody that thinks Oliver deserved the decision in that fight. Nick, I scored it close. I think I was overcompensating because I like Gary Stark so much, to be honest with you. But that was a very hard loss for him because it was his first loss, and he didn't think he deserved to lose that fight.
Well, you know, and then he overanalyzed, saying, if I wouldn't have lost that fight, I wouldn't have had to fight Ledesma. I would have stepped up, but it's stupid to do that, or it's incorrect to do that. One thing, you got to connect the dots with your career, and sometimes those dots and the lines are very broken. It's not always a straight line on the way up. There's Stark, double right hand.
Part of Gary Stark's problem as a fighter is that he's not a big puncher, but he's got a fighter's and a puncher's mentality to him. He really likes to mix it up. He's full of heart. We saw that in the Oliver fight.
Yeah, and you know, he's doing the right thing here, in my opinion, Steve. He is making the play because, as you mentioned, Deleuze has stopped trying to do that. So if Deleuze isn't going to come to him and Stark can't sit and counter, he's got to be first. Why wait? Good right hand as he drills Deleuze 3 times with it. Tries to set up that right off the left.
Hold on, guys, come on.
The Stark really fighting under a lot more control, not trying to get careless. Keeping his hands up, picking off shots there, staying out of range. And Deleuze in a spot where he can't land.
Well, Stark's mixing up, being aggressive and moving around and using the ring. But Deleuze is not moving his hands as much as he did in the first round. No doubt about that.
Doesn't close the distance, Deleuze, and there's Stark with a little double hitch step there, and then the left, and there's a right hand from Stark, and now Stark opens up with a fiery combination. Good right hands. Now they pick it up a notch, big time. Really getting into it. A little bit of talking here, a lot of slugging. Spirited action here in the third in Hollywood, Florida. Glad you're with us for Broadway Boxing. Stark feinting, fading, and when Deleuze doesn't do anything, he's able to punch when he wants, rest when he wants, control the ring. Good exchange there, not flush shots. Stark with the better of round 3.
Yeah. Right. He's talking to me. He's talking to me. You like that, huh? You gotta open him right here too. Set him up there.
Action from round 3. Gary Stark might have edged the round. Look at him talking. You got nothing, he said to Deleuze.